We will be starting here in just a couple seconds. Want to give some time for people to go ahead and log on. If anybody's going to watch the show tonight, just give them some time to join in. And then we'll begin discussing Chapter 15 of Kids Deserve It, which is I Wish You Knew, one of my ultimate favorite chapters in the book. So I'll give a couple more seconds for people to join in. I would love to know where you're watching from. So if you are watching right now, if you could type in where you are located. Always like seeing where some of our visitors or viewers are coming from in different parts of the country. So if you want to go ahead and share out where you're watching from, that would be awesome. And we'll start in about 15 seconds with the conversation. Hey, I see Todd Schmidt and Ann Vega on here. Kansas, that's awesome. Arkansas. Yeah, Ann, I gave you a shout out too. I was looking for you, but I didn't see you. California. Of course, California. That's where Todd's from. Todd Schmidt. So we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining again for another week as we chat about Kids Deserve It. I did kind of want to start this chat a little bit differently. As everybody knows, we elected a new president last night. And, I've kind of kept quiet about my political views and what I was thinking about the election and things like that. And as I woke up this morning and I watched till almost midnight last night till I couldn't take it anymore. And then I was just so tired that I had to get some sleep. I feel very torn about our elections, and I felt this way the entire presidential cycle, or the whole time going through this, of looking at both candidates, seeing flaws in both candidates, seeing pros in both candidates. But I think, part of me, when I work in a population that is 85% minority, and when I work in a population that I'm surrounded by women doing incredible things in different positions, and I have kids who are coming to school today with comments of fear of looking at where am I going to live and things like that, or what if my mom gets sent back, or things like that. I look at this entire presidential election and I think the only thing that I want to take out of any of this is hope that things can get better and that we can turn this corner and rise together, because I've been so surprised at the amount of divisiveness, that's the word, right? Amount of just separation between people when looking at this election cycle and seeing how much people go after an individual, and say hurtful, hateful things to groups of people or organizations or things like that. And I'm ready to move forward, and I'm ready to work with our kids and teach them that you can have disagreements but still be nice to people and not have to say mean and hurtful things. So we have a new president coming up, so let's make the best of it. Let's support who's in there and do the best that we can, and just keep teaching our kids to be kind and to work together, because that's the only way we're going to make true difference. Looking at this chapter this week, though, this is one of my favorite chapters in the whole book, and this is called I Wish You Knew. This was a chapter that I did a lot of research on when trying to get the information for this chapter, because I was really thinking about, I had this idea of writing a blog post over what I wish people knew about being an administrator in education, because I think being an administration, sometimes it can be misconstrued over what administrators do or what they think, or all these other kind of things. And I thought, you know what, there's some things I wish people knew about what it is being a principal and what we go through, what we think about. And I thought, but I don't want to write this post and make it be all about me. I want to write a post and I want to have it be about other administrators who get their voices from across the world to share in that. And as I began to piece this chapter together, and as I began to pull from administrators, I sat there and I thought, why would I only get one stakeholder's point of view? Because I think we could really take and run with this. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to interview teachers, and I'm going to get interviews from students, and I'm going to get interviews from parents, and let each stakeholder in the school environment share what they wish people knew about them. And as I put this out on social media and shared this with my population that I work with, and I really pushed and got thousands of comments from all kinds of places all around the world, it just blew my mind the some of the responses that really took place, because I think it's important to remember that all of us feel misunderstood at times, or wish there were things people really knew about what we were doing, or wish people knew about ourselves or our role, or anything like that. And when I look at the different sections, there's a couple of things that stick out to me. The first section in this chapter is what the kids wish that people knew about them. And some of the things that broke my heart was, one kid said, "I wish you knew my story. I'd be happy to tell you if you would just ask." And it just breaks my heart to know that there's still kids that have teachers that don't ask about them and their history and their past. One of the other ones was how to pronounce my name. And I think that was a huge one. I remember when I took over, when I became a principal, and I pronounced a teacher's name, and she teared up, and I was like, "What's going on?" And she said, "I've taught at this school for like 10 or 15 years, and they've never said my name correctly." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was that big of a deal," but just saying the name correctly. One that I thought was that was a really big deal too, was the one that said, "Some of us cling to our cell phones during class because the people we're connecting with provide us a safe place that this class has never provided." And I thought that that was really a powerful statement too, of looking at sometimes these kids are not just addicted to their phones and trying to stay on that, but that's their lifeline sometimes. Looking from the parents' perspective, I got a lot of really good insight when reading some of the parents' things. I think that it's really important to know that parents aren't all against teachers. Some teachers that like to act like that's the case, but that's not. There's so many parents that are super supportive of what's happening in education. But some of the ones that stuck out to me was the one of, she's not just an ADHD kid. She's intelligent, creative, and wonderful. Her brain just moves faster than her body can keep up. She is so much more than a label. And I read that and I thought, God, that is so true. How many times do we allow the labels to define the kids, or allow the kids to have the labels define them? Another one that, and the one thing that came up constantly was the phrase of homework, because I had so many things that I could not fit in this chapter from people. And so as I read through it, I remember, oh yeah, somebody said this too, but we couldn't add it in there because we just didn't have the space. But one of the things that kept coming up was homework. And one of the parents said, "I dread homework. I just want to spend quality time with my child after a long day of work. I would rather read with her, help her where she is behind her teacher to cook, or work on her own learning projects. Instead, we fight over hours of pointless busy work each night. I wish you knew that homework this year is damaging the relationship I have with my child." And I just thought, that is a powerful statement right there, for a parent to be able to say, the things that you are sending home as busy work is actually damaging our relationship because of the work that we're having to do. Another one that really stuck out to me was, "I wish you knew a little bit more about my child's background, like how his two brothers never came home from the hospital, or how his daddy has to travel for work." And I just think, our kids have so much going on, that even the parents want us to understand their background and understand what's going on. Another one that really stuck out to me was, there are times in my life, and there are times when life gets in the way of me being my child's first teacher. I know it is my responsibility to teach my child in every aspect, but sometimes I don't take advantage of a teachable moment because it doesn't occur to me at the exact moment that I should teach her. And I thought, sometimes teachers, and I've been guilty of this too, can make the comment of, well, if the parents were just covering that, or if they would just do this, and to think that, what some of the parents can say, I know that that's my job, but sometimes I'm just not thinking in that moment, and I really don't do that. And then another one was that I really do appreciate and value all the hard work teachers do. It means a lot when teachers keep us updated on what they're doing on my kid's life. And I thought that was powerful too, that the parents aren't looking out to get us. The teachers was really eye-opening for me too, when I went and kind of got ideas from the teachers and things that they wish you knew. And some of the ones that stick out to me were things like, "I lie awake at 2 a.m. agonizing over things I can fix, your child's progress, my lack of patience, an email from an angry parent, a better way to teach the lesson I taught yesterday." I think it's important, and for teachers to have that voice of, "I wish you knew that I become a family with my kids, that when your kid's in my class, I adopt them, that I wanted to be a teacher. I didn't just become this job because I wasn't smart enough to do something else. I wish you knew how much time I spent away from my family, and that to make sure that the 120 kids I teach have an opportunity to shine, grow, and succeed. That I want my kids to be brave. I want them to try new things. I love them. I love the kid who's the discipline problem, because I know that all they want is to be heard and understood." and things like, when I look into your child's eyes, I see my own children. And just because we don't have a classroom full of kids doesn't mean we're not working all summer. Things like that. Just remembering, like, the quote that we have emboldened in this chapter is that we're really all in this hard thing together. Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we want to give up, but in the end, we're a team. That's kind of why I wanted to start with the election talk, because I think that's the same with us as American citizens, is that we're all in this together, and we can sit there and bicker and argue and fight, but we have to work together to do what's best. The one that was really personal to me was from the administrators, what I wish you knew, and I didn't include my own in this chapter. I really wanted it to be a perspective of others and not a perspective of myself. But some of the things that stuck out to me, and the one that hit me probably the most personally, was that the one where it says, there may be times when you're the first person we see after we've been hit, kicked, screamed at, cursed at, and while we always try to stay positive, there will be times when we slip. Please forgive us when this happens. And I have to catch myself several times when I've just gotten reamed by a parent, or I've just had to sit with a child who was screaming for 45 minutes and try to calm them down and work them back into class. And then I have somebody come up to me and say something like, why aren't you doing this? Or where have you been? Or da-da-da-da. And it's just like that look on my face, like, if you only knew what I just went through. And I had to go, okay, smile, be positive. That's my job as the administrator, is to be a light, even when I've just been beat up too. And so that one was one that really hit me hard. But I think too that some of the other ones from administrators is how much I wish I could do to reward our teachers because they work so incredibly hard, or how I understand that your major issue is important to you. It's important to me too. But please remember that I have 50 other people's major issues fighting for my time and attention at the same time. And so just keeping some of that inside, that we aren't perfect. We do the best we can with the information and resources we have. Our job is fun. It's one of the best jobs in the world. And even in hard times, I can't imagine doing anything else. I never stop thinking about kids, both their successes and their struggles. I wish parents would come to us personally when they're upset about a tough decision we make. And one of the big ones that we end on is that principals are people too. They make mistakes, they have feelings, and while they are charged with working with and meeting the needs of a large number of stakeholders, their needs matter too, and it's a very lonely seat. That was one thing that I had often heard about before moving into administration, but I never got to actually experience until you get into administration, is that it is an incredibly lonely position, just for the simple fact of that there's so much on you that you do as an administrator that you can't talk about with other stakeholders, because you have to make the decisions and you have to keep privacy laws and things like that. The one thing I want to encourage you to do as you read through this chapter and kind of think about what you wish people knew is to talk to people around you. Talk to the kids. Talk to the parents. This is a great exercise to do with kids, with your team, with your school, just to find out what other people wish you knew about them. I know that we did this as a staff last year, and there were just some powerful things that came out. Things like, I wish you knew I just got my master's, but I've been too afraid to tell anybody that I just graduated. Or I wish you knew that my mother is struggling with cancer, and I don't know how I'm going to make it through the next month. I mean, these things that we're all dealing with, so many things, that there's so much that we wish people knew, that we wish we could share, that sometimes the best thing you can do is ask them, what do you wish people knew? What can I do to learn more about you, or to be there more for you, or to understand you better? Thank you so much for joining tonight's Periscope. I hope you join our Twitter chat as we continue this conversation and talking about the I wish you knew statements in just a couple minutes at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Hope everybody has a great week. Take some time to sit and listen to someone else and let them share a little bit about what they wish you knew about them.